Now, each of us probably has at least one, if not more, patient portals with our healthcare system. We can log in, we can message our doctor, see our medications, reorder them, see lab results, and all that kind of stuff. As a patient, I've found some issues with these portals, and as somebody who used to work for the company that makes most of them, I've found an issue with them. First of all, every healthcare system I go to has their own portal, and they don't talk to each other. So currently I have 3 places to log in to see my information, and some of my providers, especially mental health care providers, don't have a patient portal. Second, the information is often incomplete. Doctors aren't really great about adding things to your problem list. Labs might not be available online. You might have to log on to your portal on a computer as opposed to on your phone if you want to see certain pieces of information. And third, the information isn't very portable. You have to have your username and password to log in to see it. You can't print a lot of it. You can't even copy and paste or screenshot a lot of it. So Backpack Health decided we don't like that. We want to make a portal with the patient in mind, where the patient controls what information is in it, what information is seen, and what information is shared. So does anybody have any questions real quick about Backpack before I go into getting your account set up? I see a nodding of a yes. Is that yes a question, or yes go on, you're awesome? Either way, I'm good. Emily's giving me a thumbs up. I like that. I'm scrolling through all your pictures right here, so I can't see you all at the same time because I don't have it set up that way. All right, I'm gonna go on then.
I think you're good.
Okay, thanks.
If anyone has a message, you can, or a question or anything, just unmute yourself and you can ask when she stops for questions.
Yeah, that'll probably be.
I was gonna say I have a quick one then.
Yeah, go for it.
I would like to record this so that I have it, but it's asking for permission from the host. It won't let me just do it.
Oh, I'm recording it.
Okay, thanks. I'd like to have that. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that we are recording it, and it will be available for you to watch again, or if you want to share it with your support group members, that's great. We'll also make the presentation itself available, so if you want to use it or parts of it to help teach anybody really, whether that's your support group members, other people with EDS, other people with chronic conditions, other people who go to the doctor, really anybody can have a Backpack account. You don't have to have any sort of special sign up or training or what have you.
Yeah, and this was kind of like our first run, so we were just inviting some people. We didn't want to make it like a public one since it's just our first run through, and we just wanted, people within the organization to be able to know how to do it. We didn't want to have a really big group anyways,
So okay. The first thing oh, sorry, did somebody else have a question?
No, go ahead. Okay.
So obviously the first thing you want to do is create an account. And there's 2 ways you can do this. The first one, is by going to the backpackhealth.com website and clicking sign up and signing up for an account. And you sign up very similar as you do with other online accounts. You put in your email and your username. They send you a verification email. You click on that, and then they take you through step by step to enter different information that will then be part of your profile. The other way to sign up is through the EDS Wisconsin Backpack link, which I've put up here on the PowerPoint. And I didn't sign up this way. I used the first way. Tammy, did you sign up this way?
Nope.
No, you already had an account listed. So anyways, this is a way for us to get to personalize the invitation to those who are in our group. So we can say, hey, Ehlers Danlos Wisconsin has this group on Backpack, come join us. And it tells you a little bit about what Ehlers Danlos Wisconsin is doing, a little bit about what Backpack can help with, and then it has some criteria of who can join. I'm going to go over this screen again in a little bit, so don't worry about reading through it or looking at the criteria. We're going to talk about it again in a little bit when we talk about groups. But there are 2 places that you can join and get your account set up. Once you get your account set up, you're taken to this page, this My Health Info page. And you can see you have kind of a main menu over here and then a little bit of a sub menu here. What I recommend is that when you first get your account, click on the profile button over here, and this screen will appear. And there are just a couple pieces of information that you can add here. You'll see that my patient in the sign-up process already entered his name, date of birth, gender, as well as the assigned at birth gender, and what state and country he's from. You can also add a profile photo. You can enter your race and ethnicity, and you can enter your blood type. Those aren't required, but if you want to add those information, that's where you would go do it. Here, I'll highlight those. Sorry, that animation didn't work, and the rest of them are better, I promise. The other things that you can do in the profile section are in this little submenu up here. If you go to themes, you get to pick a different color. This red is a little bright for me. My personal account is in blue. James decided to put his account in green here. And then the privacy section, there are two things. We're going to look at the one on the bottom first. Health information. This is a consent that they ask you to sign when you sign up for your account. And it basically says, you're entering health in here, health information in here. We're going to keep it safe. We're going to make sure only you can access it. And that it's only shared with the people that you say we can share it with. The research-informed consent is something that you have to come sign if you want to. Again, completely optional, but it does allow Backpack Health to take your information and use it for research purposes. So they put it into what's probably a big data silo and are able to track trends and different reporting queries through depersonalized data.
Yeah, so Steve and I met with them, and we also have access to this information from anyone who signs up on our page. Correct, Steve?
I'll be getting to that when I talk about groups.
Okay.
Yeah, well, they said that we're allowed to see aggregate information, not personalized information.
Yep. And I'll go over that when we talk about groups and what that means for people who join the group. The other place you're going to want to go is this account settings place, and it's the place where it's going to be a lot of stuff that looks familiar. I want to change my password. I want to change my email. I want to change what kind of communication I get from Backpack Health, that kind of stuff. So that stuff is pretty simple. It's set it and forget it stuff, but stuff you might want to take care of right away so that you don't have to think about it again in the future. So we did that. Now we're going to move on to the entering medical information. Does anyone have any questions about the account settings, signing up for a Backpack account, entering profile information? It's pretty straightforward. Backpack does a really good job of taking you step by step through everything.
One quick question.
Sure.
So, are we wanting, so people within Wisconsin in the EDS community, we want them to use the EDS Wisconsin link? But outside of that, does it matter? Do we want them using the EDS Wisconsin link, or should we just have them encourage them to use the general link?
I would say encourage them to use the general link. Since I haven't signed up through the join link, I'm not sure if it automatically links you into the EDS Wisconsin group. If anybody does try that and wants to tell us what happens, please feel free. But yeah, if you have a friend, say, in Texas who wants to join, I would encourage them to use the general link.
Okay.
Good question. Thank you. What other questions do you have? Okay, well then I will move on to getting some information into this account that you set up. I keep clicking on Zoom and then I try to move my PowerPoint along and my computer's like, I don't understand what you want. Anyway, so this is your main page. This is the page that will show up when you log into your account. It's this health info place. It's called My Health Info, and it's got this health link highlighted here. And it's telling you, keep track of all of your health info. Welcome, whoever showed up, just came in. And as people with Ehlers Danlos, this might feel like it's going to take forever to set up, but it actually goes quite quickly once you understand how the system works. And that's all it is that it's just a learning curve, learning a different application. It's just like if you switched from Apple phone to Android or a Mac to a PC. Everything's kind of looks like what you're used to, but there might just be a few little areas that you're not quite sure what to do with. So again, that's where we are. And you'll notice that there's a plus sign down in the bottom. This is Backpack's way of saying, hey, you can do something on this page. If you click this plus sign, you get the My Health Info main menu. And you can see there's a lot of stuff you can add to your Backpack account. These are all the different sections you can add. And since most of us or someone we know has Ehlers Danlos, we're going to add a condition or symptom to our Backpack account. So we would click the plus button. You would see this menu pop up, and you would click on condition or symptom. Now, I wanted to take a minute to say that you can do this on a desktop computer, which is where these screenshots are from. And I did it on my desktop computer in my Chrome browser. You can also do it on a mobile device. Things will look similar, but they might not be exactly laid out the way that you're seeing them here. But either work just fine. So click condition or symptom, and you're taken to this screen, which is the search screen. You'll see that we have some quick selections here of things that might be common for people to want to add, although I don't know how common acute appendicitis is when you're, I don't know, if I had acute appendicitis, I think I'd be in the hospital and not setting up my Backpack account, but whatever. So you enter your search term in the condition symptom search field like you would for any other search field. You have to type in something and hit enter. It doesn't auto-complete like Google does. So let's say we're going to add hypermobile Ehlers Danlos. I'm going to type in HEDS, and these are the search results I get, which isn't exactly what I was looking for. So you'll notice that there's a little more icon down there. So if we click that, this is what we see, which again is also not super helpful. Not entirely clear what hedgehog tick is, but you know, maybe that's what you want. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the searching in Backpack. This doesn't make it look like it's the best search ever. Like, why isn't HEDS coming up? The thing is with Backpack is you need to search under multiple things to figure out how it was added to the system. There's also another easier way to do searching that I'm going to show you in a little while. But so if you search for something and you get these results and you're like, oh man, this is not what I was looking for, and you're kind of scrolling through them and you're at 30, 40 different results and you're not seeing what you want, try typing in something else. So instead of HEDS, maybe try EDS and maybe it'll show up. Or try Ehlers Danlos, or try Hypermobile. So you can see I tried Hypermobile and I got exactly what I was looking for. It's a little bit of something that you have to play around with, and something that I've been talking to Backpack about to see if they can be a little bit smarter about their searching. So if you click on Hypermobile EDS, you're then taken to this screen. And this is the screen where you enter all of the details you want about your condition. Now, nothing on this screen is required. The only thing that is quote unquote required is the title or the name of the condition that you are adding. So if you just wanted to say, I have hypermobile EDS and I'm done, you'd come over here and you'd click this done button. However, there are a lot of other things that you can add that can give some more information about your condition. So first you'll notice that there's this three dot menu over here. If you open that, you're allowed to do two things. First of all, you can delete your condition. I don't know why I did that. You can delete the condition if you added something incorrectly. Maybe you accidentally clicked on vascular EDS and you're like, shoot, that's not what I wanted. Get rid of this. The other thing that this dotted line tells you is that you can actually search for a different condition from this screen. So say you went through and filled out the whole screen and then you went, you know what? I really should put hypermobility spectrum disorder. I really don't know if I have EDS yet. Should really do hypermobility spectrum disorder. You can click here and type in hypermobility and select hypermobility spectrum disorder, and all of the information that you entered in this screen will not go away. It'll just be filed then under a different condition. And of course, if you do choose to delete something from your account, it'll give you a warning that says, yes, do you want to delete, or no, do you not want to delete? So moving on, you have a little flag icon here that looks like that when you click it. This will put a little dot that looks just like this next to Hypermobile EDS in various places, which we'll see as we go throughout the presentation. The next thing you can do is this slider button, this current and in the past. And right now, I hope it looks to you like current is selected, which essentially means, hey, I have this condition right now. You can also switch it to in the past, which says, in the past, I had this thing that's significant that I feel like I should tell people about. You can notice that when you switch from current to in the past, that this question with the little calendar next to it changed. For current, it tells you when did this start. For in the past, it wants to know when was this. Now, one of the other things to learn about backpack health is a lot of times they don't have buttons for you to click. They just want you to click on the text that you want to do something with. So if I had this marked as current and I wanted to add a date when it started, I would actually just click on the when did this start part. And if I did that, I would get a window that said, when did this start? And to enter my start date, I'd click on start date, and I'd get a date selector that works just like any other date selector. You have an I don't remember button, so if you get here and you're like, I don't know, you don't have to set it back to blank. You can just click I don't remember and it will leave it blank for you. If you're up on your business and you just got your diagnosis today, you can put a default into today. Our patient has had EDS since, surprise, he was born, so I put in his birth date. You click done, and a nice little feature is it'll tell you how long you've had this thing. So if you put in, March 8th, 2005, it'll tell you you've had it for however many years, or 6.5 years, or about 3 weeks, or whatever unit of time it is, which, kind of nice. If you have to put in, so this is what it looks like when you go back to that page where we had added the Hypermobility EDS. It says started April 14th, 1981, about 38 years ago. And then if you change to in the past, you put in 2 dates. You say, okay, it was from April 2005 to October 2010 for about 14 years. When you enter dates, you can enter a month, day, and year, like I did with April 14th, 1981. You can enter a month and a year, like I did here, or you can just enter a year. The in the past option also has an option for just one date. So if it was in the past that you had a condition for just a day, or you just want to put in the start date, they want to give you the option to make this data as personalized as possible. So whatever kind of date you want to put in, however you want to talk about the condition that you have or that you had, they want to be able to support that for you. So I'm going to pause right now and see if there are any questions about what I've just gone over about searching for a condition, adding a condition, and then adding the dates. Now, this is a new interface, so I want to make sure that we're all on the same page before I go through the other stuff.
Did anyone have any questions? Looks good.
All right, great. So the next part is one of my favorite parts about backpack health, because I'm a nerd and I got real excited when Tammy showed me this, is the diagnosis confirmed or suspected? We all know that we have symptoms, we have conditions that we think we have, but we haven't had time to see the doctor. Doctor doesn't agree with us. It's just a weird symptom that we don't know what it is or if it's connected to anything. So you can add whatever you want into your backpack health. Click this, is the diagnosis confirmed or suspected? And tell that information. I know that when I look at my problem list from Unity Point Health, it's missing a lot of stuff that I have talked to my doctors about. And that's one of the things that I really like about backpack health, is that I get to put in the stuff that I think is important, and I can make it as complete or as incomplete as I want to. And if I'm having some sort of weird symptom that maybe I haven't talked to my doctor about, I can still document it and I can mark it as suspected. Or if I'm like, yep, I know that I have this, you can mark it as confirmed. It's whatever those words mean to you. This is where you can also put in a diagnosis date. So the start date is when the condition started. So, EDS starts at birth. And then this is where you could put, I got diagnosed when I was 25. And then that just changes to suspected back at that main page where we're adding the information on the hypermobile EDS. The next thing, I added a different condition because talking about specific body parts with Ehlers Danlos is a little tricky since it's kind of a whole body thing. So I went and added something the same way we did before, condition, symptom, search, clicked the name. I added chronic pain, which is kind of vague, but completely normal diagnosis for us to put into our medical charts. It's a current thing. It started in January 2013. It's confirmed. And now I can get more specific about where it is. I click the add specific body part right here. It gives me the search menu, just like you saw with the conditions. It's happening in my knee. And again, they give you a lot of different choices. Is it just knee? Do you still want to be vague about this? Cool. Do you want to say it's actually in the joint, right knee, left knee? Whatever you choose ends up showing up here. And then you get this link text where you can add as many body parts as you want. And with chronic pain and EDS, probably going to have a list there. So you can also add conditions that say chronic lower back pain, chronic knee pain, chronic left foot pain, and have those listed as separate conditions if that's how you like to think about them. If you like to think of it as one big thing that affects different parts of your body, you can enter it this way. Again, it's a flexible way to enter information that makes sense for you. So I know you see stuff about share cards on here and you're very excited because you're like, oh, share cards, tell me about share cards, but we're not going to talk about them quite yet. I've saved them for the end, so y'all stick around to listen to me. I do want to talk about the write a new note and attach a file, which is another way to add more specific information to a diagnosis or any of these different things that we're adding. So if you click on write a new note, you basically get a free text field to write whatever you want about this condition. You can write a note about your treatment, you can write a story, you can write anything you want here that supports your information about this condition. And then when you go back to that field, when you click the little check mark up here, it says, save this, I'm done. You'll see that it was added next to where that little pencil was. Now, the thing that I don't necessarily like about notes is you can see that whatever I typed first kind of became the title of the note. So you may want to keep that in mind. It may not matter to you. And then you can see there's a little bit of a preview of the note. So I would want maybe this first line down here. It's not the greatest thing, but again, this is a company that is really receptive to feedback, and they are adding things and making things better all the time, which I'm excited to show you one of the new things that they just added. And then if you decided you want to come back in a week and write another note and say, hey, the CBD oil didn't work for me, you can do that, or you can click this, edit it, and add it to that note. So again, another way to add some specific information about a condition. Attaching a file, again, happens in the same place. When you click that, you get the option of My Backpack or My Device. And if you click My Device, it'll give you an upload window just like you would with any other, Facebook photo upload or Snapchat. I don't know. I don't use the Snapchat. I don't know what the kids are doing these days. And then you select it and it will upload it to your condition right here. There is a place in Backpack. See, when we were at that first page, that kind of home page that I showed you about, we're here in this health section. If you click the notes, and I'm not going to do it because you can see this as you explore through your own account, it'll show you all the notes you have written anywhere in Backpack. So if you had one on chronic pain, you had one on hypermobile EDS, you had one on 18 other different conditions or symptoms, all of those notes, you could review them here and it will show you where they're stored. You can also upload files on their own without adding them to a specific condition, symptom, medication, whatever. So if you just got your genetic report back and you want to scan it and upload it, you took a picture of a weird rash you have and you just want to make sure you have access to it in your backpack, there is an upload, documents, videos, audio, photos, PDFs. Like, I think you can upload nearly any format into here. And then when we were here and it asked, do you want to use my backpack? If you click that, it'll take you to whatever you have uploaded in this files thing. This is something that I encourage you to explore on your own when you get your own backpack set up. Write some notes on different pieces of information, see how they appear in this notes function. There's also an opportunity to just write a general note in there that just lives in that note tab, and upload a couple files. I uploaded a photo of my new knee brace. I uploaded a photo of my cats. Not that that's super helpful when you're putting medical information together, but maybe I want something to cheer me up next time I go into my backpack health. I also needed some things for some examples. So we talked about that. Before I move on to talking about medication, I want to pause and see if there are any questions about adding a condition, a symptom, the confirmed versus suspected, the adding body parts, the files, all the stuff that we just went over.
Quick question, I just entered it into the chat. So you can essentially upload all of tons of previous lab documents that you don't want to manually go back and enter, because we all know we have thousands of those. So you could just you could upload it as a file then?
You can upload it as a file and it will stay as a file.
Okay.
There is a place where you can specifically enter labs and tests, which we'll look at. But if you're like, man, I am not going back and entering thousands and thousands and thousands of lab entries, I'm going to just upload this. And if I want to see them, I can click on this file. That's absolutely 100% awesome.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's a good question. Because as you can see, there's a lot of different things that you can add there. And even if you just think about, conditions and symptoms, like how many of those do we all have to add up in there? And then to document information about them, and don't get me started on how many medications we all have. It can take a while to get all this stuff in there. So yes, if you just want to scan something or even just take a photo and upload it, that can be an easy way to do that.
But that's exactly why, backpack health is so good. It's because you enter one time now versus having to enter it onto all the, pamphlets of papers that they want you to fill out when you see a new doctor and things like that. So I just print mine out. I mean, it's a little bit of work in the beginning, but it pays off later on.
It really does. Once you guys see how you can use the share cards, you're going to be signing up for this and sharing cards with strangers because it's just so exciting. Don't share your medical information with strangers. I did not tell you to do that. So I want to talk about medications really quick. A lot of these screens are going to look very similar to what you saw under condition and symptom. So I'm not going to go through all of them piece by piece like I did with condition or symptom. So if you click on medication in this menu, you bring up something that looks very similar. You do the search, you grab your medication, you have your 3-dot menu, your flagging. Over here, you can talk about whether it's current or in the past. When you started the medication, notes and files. The one thing that's different about this screen is the how much and how often. And again, you're going to click on that text and you'll be taken to the how much and how often screen. That's another thing I like about Backpack is that they tell you where you are and what you're doing. So here you enter free text amount, and this field will take whole numbers with decimals, and ranges, so 5 to 7.5. Will not take fractions. It will not take slash marks. I don't know what else you would want to enter there, but those are the things that I tried, and it won't tell you that it's not saving it. You'll just return to the main page with your medication on it and see that it didn't record the dose, which is not great. So you enter your amount manually, you choose your unit, and it put tablet, milligrams, and milliliters here. Those are common ones, as we all know. If for some reason not for if for some reason, because you have another medication that isn't in one of these formats, you click the little more button over here. Sorry, I'm behind in my animations. And you get a search menu just like we did for the conditions and symptoms. So I decided to choose capsule, and I meant to say that it's a 150 milligram capsule, not that I take 150 milligram or 150 capsules, but I wasn't going to go back and do new screenshots, so I take 150 capsules. And then down here on the second half of the page, you're going to talk about how often do you do that. And you'll first select from kind of the general hours, days, weeks, months, other. And then they give you some options, once a day, twice a day. And if one of those doesn't fit, you know, if you're taking it 6 times a day, your 150 capsules, 6 times a day, you click more, but it's not going to give you a search menu like it normally does. In this case, so if I'm on the days tab, it's going to give me 2 options. It's going to say blank times a day, or it's going to say every blank days. And you'll fill in one of those with a number, and that's what it will use. They didn't want to have a big search menu of 2 times a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, 5 times a day. It's like, we'll give you a free text field. You fill in how many times a day, how many times a week, how many times a month, and we'll just add that. So when you choose your, more menu, you choose your dose and frequency, you come back to your main medical page or medicine screen, and you'll see your 150 capsules 2 times a day. I don't know who would do that, but there you go. Everything else is exactly the same as it was on the conditions and symptoms. Do you have any questions about the medication screen? One thing that I do want to tell you again about searching in Backpack is that when groups like Ehlers Danlos Wisconsin sign up, they ask us if we want to add things to their database. So if there are conditions that are missing, if there are medications that aren't in there, if there are things that aren't listed in the way that we want them to be listed. So you can search for, say, ranitidine or aspirin or EDS, and you'll see things listed multiple ways and multiple times. So one of the examples that I use is you can search for morphine, and you will see just plain morphine, and you can click on that and put in, you know, you take 15 milligrams as needed. You will see morphine extended release. You'll see morphine ER. You'll see morphine drip. You'll see morphine with other drugs. And you may see repetitive things. It's just because some people wanted to see things written out in different ways. I wish they didn't do that because they also have like Hypermobile EDS and then Hypermobile EDS in all caps, which again, I would prefer that they didn't do that. But you're going to see things formatted a lot of different ways, and some are going to be very broad, some are going to be very specific. You pick which ones make sense for you. And if you are searching for a med, a lab test, something that's not in there, Backpack is really great about adding things. If they can't find it in their system for you, they will add it, and I'll show you, they give you the email address if they can't find anything that you can email and say, hey, I can't find this, and they'll either find it for you or they will work with you to add it. So I'm going to skip back past treatment and therapy or procedure or surgery just because they look very similar to medication, condition, and symptom. I'm only going to stop at allergy real quick because it has a little bit of a sub-menu. You click whether you're doing a medication, food, or other allergy. Other is anything that's not medication or food. And then this has the what's the reaction or side effect field, which again, click on it, you search for anaphylaxis, diarrhea, hives, anxiety, whatever happens. And you can add more than one reaction or side effect. Also, you can search the allergy database. So if I go to medication, I can search for no medication allergy and add that, or no food allergies or no environmental allergies. So you can add that to your account as well. They do have that as a specific option that you can find in the search fields. Vaccination is really boring. So to move on to measurement, Before I do, I just want to see if there's any questions about anything about the searching, the allergies. I'm gonna guess not. I haven't gone over a lot, but if there is anything. All right, so measurements are anything that you can measure. I know that's really obvious, but some people are like, well, what's the difference between a lab test and a measurement? Measurement's gonna be height, weight, blood pressure, pulse, length for babies, head diameter, Brighton and Baton scores, things like that. You may also put them under lab or test. You may go to test and put in that you had an x-ray done. You can also put that under procedure or surgery. They have x-rays, MRIs, CT scans. Again, it's all what makes sense to you. Was the MRIs a procedure to you? Put it under procedure. Was it a lab or a test to you? Put it under lab or test. Is it not important to you? Don't put it in your backpack at all. So the measurement screen looks a little bit different, which is why I wanted to show it to you. The specific part of the body is up here by the title. I'm not entirely sure why they did it that way, but since it has that underline there, that means you can search. And so you can, again, if this was an MRI or, you know, diameter, you could say it's the diameter of my head, it's the diameter of my right leg, that kind of stuff. Again, we have the date, the notes, the files, and then I just wanted to look quick at the what's the value screen. It looks real similar to the medication screen. You have the place where you can enter in the free text value, how it's measured, or go here with more. And then they have the low, normal, high, abnormal flags that you can put on it. And then when you see it, it looks this. So since the Brighton score isn't really measured in centimeters or pounds, I chose the label items. You may have noticed back here that there is an NA, so I could have just put 5 and not had a label to it. I labeled it as average because I just picked something. But that's what it will look like when you save it. So when you click you're done up here, you're like, I've added my date, my value, maybe I wrote a little bit note about which of the criteria I fit. I click done, and I'm not taken back to that My Health info page. I'm taken back to a place where I can add a new value. Now, Emily could certainly spend all of her time on this screen adding in all of her lab values if she wanted. Again, she could also scan that and put it in as a file. But if you did want to do this, and it doesn't really make sense for the Brighton score because that doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily something you're measuring, but if you think about weight or blood pressure or tracking, this is also available in the lab. So tracking any lab value, you click add new value, and then it shows you the most recent at the top and will list all the rest of them. And then when you click this done button and you go back to the My Health information page, you'll see your different measurements, and it'll tell you how many values you have entered specifically in here. Now, as far as I know, there is no graphing or charting features available. You can simply just see them. I'm guessing that might be something that Backpack would add in the future. That's obviously helpful to us. Whoops, sorry. Lab values work exactly the same way, except instead of measurements, you're going to see labs. They have the same add new value thing like you see here. And the last one that's on there is genetic results. The only thing to tell you about that that's different is that you search by the gene you want to document on. And those of you who have hypermobile are like, boring, move on. You search for the gene you want to document on, you say whether there's a mutation or a variant, and then it gives you all sorts of things you can document about the mutation or variant. I haven't had genetic testing done, so I'm not entirely sure what all that stuff is. I might go the route of, hey, I have my genetic report, I'm gonna just scan that in and put it in files, so if anybody needs to see it, it's there. So I'm gonna pause here for any questions. It didn't feel like I was pausing this much for questions when I was practicing, so if this feels like a lot, I'm very sorry.
Where do we scan the information into? Like, I have a fax machine I can scan, but I don't understand how to make the link to here.
So what you would do is, let me see if I can find you a screenshot here.
That's
You can upload it from anywhere. So, like if I was on my computer, I would just hit the button to upload. It's just like uploading anything like to the drive, or if you were uploading wherever you have the information stored, you would upload it.
So there's no indirect way like to go through, like on my fax machine, I have things that I can scan to email. There's no way to do that kind of stuff yet, so I can avoid putting it on my computer.
But that's actually a good idea because, yeah, some people probably don't want health information on their computer.
My file's like, huge. I'd never get it all in there. I'd be here all day. But
that's something that you could, tell them about that you would want, and they've actually made quite a few updates for suggestions that I've made to them.
Same for me, that I've told them things that would be helpful for us, and they've added them. So again,
yeah,
we're super receptive to feedback. So if that's something that you're interested in contacting them about, we can help you with that. You and I can also talk about it, and I can submit it to them if you want me to.
Yeah, I think it would be good to get it in one way or the other. And then, just being able to take pictures of things is so much faster. You can take it, scan it in, and delete it, so you don't have all that information stored anywhere. We all use our phones so much these days.
Right. Yeah, and Emily, one of the things I wanted to point out is that, so if you upload a file, that file has to be accessed from like a website or something like that, or from your app, like if you were at the doctor's office, versus if you enter the lab values and then before I went to the emergency room, I printed out a PDF. Like I can make sure that all those values are on that PDF if I want them on there. So if you want something that's really quick to see, I would manually enter them. And the nice thing is you always have them, they're always there. Or even just like the most important ones, because one of my kids has some really important labs, and I went through like all the different systems, and I entered them all manually, and it was totally worth it because now they're all there, no matter where we go.
So that was an awesome segue into this new feature that they just added called data connections. It's in beta testing, and when I tried to use it, it wasn't super great, but I did want to show it to you because it is going to be awesome once they get it working. So on the main menu, there's a data connections link. You click it, you come to this screen, you click add a connection, and you can search for your patient portals. So as you can see, I have Unity Point Health and University of Wisconsin Health here. When you click add a connection, you can search by doctor, clinic, or by the web address for the patient portal. I recommend searching by the web address for the patient portal because then it thinks about it and it finds it right away. You enter your username and password if you have an account set up with that patient portal. And then what it's supposed to do is pull in all of your information from that patient portal, which means that you don't have to enter thousands of lab tests from 3 different patient portals. It's just going to pull them in. As you can see, Unity Point Health isn't supported yet. So those of you who use Unity Point, that might not work for you. I couldn't get University of Wisconsin Health to say anything except refreshing connection. Again, I was doing this, I started it Saturday and I haven't gotten it to say anything other than refreshing connection. I don't know if that's a problem on UW's end, my end, Backpack's end, because I have so many health records at UW. Not sure. I did get it to work for SSM Health though. That's my oldest one. So what will happen is once you add these portal connections, they'll check every week for new records. You'll get a notification when you sign up and sign into Backpack. And then you'll come here and it'll say, hey, you've got new records. Would you like to add them to Backpack or would you like to not add them to Backpack? Unfortunately, they don't have a add some of them to Backpack option. But things are really easy to delete and edit. So if you're like, I want most of this, but not these 8 things, click add all to Backpack. I didn't do that because everything that was listed here was old or I had already put in Backpack. But as this feature becomes more and more usable, I think it's going to be super helpful in that with that initial setup where you can just pull in everything from your patient portals, MyChart, My Health, whatever your place calls it, and then kind of go through it and just fix it, or, you know, change the dates or add the few things that are missing or whatever. I was actually talking to my husband about this a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, you know, it'd be really great is if they, you know, connected with those My Charts and we could upload our information from there. And then 2 weeks later, apparently Backpack Health is spying on me. They added this feature. So if you feel tech savvy and you want to try it, great. Let us know how it goes. If you're like, I like entering things myself, I want them to be important, data entry is fun, go ahead and add it yourself. So that is the end of my entering medical information section. Are there any questions about getting your information, medical, health, or otherwise, into your backpack account?
Will it only pull in the symptoms and diagnoses for that data thing you just talked about?
It will pull in everything. If I scroll down on that screen, I saw medications. I don't remember if there were labs, because my SSM Health account is very old, so it may not have pulled in things that were dated within a certain amount of time. I know if you put in, say you go to procedures and surgeries and you say you had something done in 2005, it will hide it and say older procedures available, and it'll only show things. I don't know what the cutoff is, so I don't know if they have the same cutoff with the data connections. But yes, it will look for all of those different types of information and pull them all in if it finds them. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to move along here. I don't want to keep y'all too long, but groups and share cards are two of the coolest things about Backpack Health, because up till now it does really look like your patient portal. Like, this is cool, Kate. How is this different than, other than the fact that I have to do it instead of my doctor or medical assistant or some other person employed by my healthcare system? The groups part is where EDS Wisconsin comes in. So you'll remember this screen from earlier in the PowerPoint. This is our join screen. This is one way to, again, I'm not sure if you click join us on this and you already have a backpack account. I think it will add you immediately to the group. That's not the way I did it, so don't quote me on that. But you do have a groups option in that main menu on your My Health information page. You click that and you're taken to your group page and you're like, cool, no groups, awesome. So you use your friend plus sign down there in the corner and you search for whatever you want. Now, since you're part of EDS Wisconsin, of course, you're going to search for EDS Wisconsin right away, and you're going to find one result. Awesome, that's great. But you can join as many groups as you want. Maybe you want to see if there are other Ehlers Danlos groups. Maybe there's a nationwide group out there that you want to join. Maybe you have another condition and a group associated with that condition has a backpack. I know Marfans has a backpack group because that's the example that they kept showing us. So because you're part of EDS Wisconsin doesn't mean you can't join another group, and you don't have to join a group to use Backpack. It gives you some pretty awesome benefits, but you do not have to do it. So when you find the group, you'll click on it. This is another one of their clickable links, and you'll get that description that we saw on the join link. And this is just for people who don't know what EDS Wisconsin is. What are we doing here? Why do we have this backpack group? And then we have the criteria of who we'd like to join this group. I see a typo. Does anybody else see it? This criteria, no one is going to stop you from joining this group if you don't meet this criteria. You do not have to prove that you have EDS. You don't have to have it listed in your conditions. You don't have to have Wisconsin listed in your profile. This is on the honor system. We have a couple of people who have moved away from Wisconsin, who were very involved with EDS Wisconsin, who have joined this group. So we don't want everybody in the nation joining our group. We do want to make sure that we keep it for the people in Wisconsin that have EDS. They don't have to be part of Ehlers Danlos, Wisconsin. They don't have to be a volunteer with Ehlers Danlos, Wisconsin. They just have to have EDS, hypermobility spectrum disorder, a related condition, and have something to do with Wisconsin. As you can see, you can just like Wisconsin to join this group. One of the things, I'm sure a lot of you have heard Tammy say this, and it's one of the things that I love, is that she never wants anybody to feel excluded. So if there's somebody out there who's like, I really want to join an EDS group, there's not one for my state, this Wisconsin one looks great, we want that person to join us because we want to make sure that they have the support that they need. So if you're like, this looks awesome, I want to join this group, you click yes, I meet these requirements, and it'll give you some information about what the group can do and what some of the key points about groups. So you can choose to share any of the conditions, symptoms, medications, labs, vaccines that you want with your groups. And I'll show you how you do that in just a second. When you do that, it is depersonalized. Your name is not attached to it in any way, shape, or form. You also get to choose how much information you want to share. You can share everything that's in your backpack. You can share a few things. You can share nothing. If you choose not to share anything, you still get all of the benefits of the group. And then what happens is that the administrators of the group, which I think is just Tammy and maybe Steve, can see that data, as they were saying before, as aggregate data. It allows us to look for things like trends, like, what's the most common subtype of EDS in Wisconsin? Is there a particular allergy that everybody's documenting? Is there a test that everybody's getting the same result on that we don't realize is super important that everybody should get? That kind of stuff. It's never going to show your name. It's never going to link back to your profile. It is completely controlled by you, and you can revoke access whenever you want. And again, that doesn't change your status in the group. It doesn't send an email to the administrator saying, so-and-so took away their permission, kick them out of the group. We cannot do that. The only way you can leave the group is by clicking leave group yourself. No other group members have access to your information other than the administrators, which, like I said, I think is just Tammy and maybe Steve. The administrators can contact you using the app, but they don't have your email. I haven't seen the administrator screen, but I believe it's just to like click a person's name or select send message to everybody in the group kind of thing. But your information and your privacy is taken very seriously. Backpack makes that a big priority. And you've seen these, your privacy, health information, that's human information icons around these screens because they want to explain to you in these different places what they're doing to keep your information private. We have all seen these data breaches that are happening at hospitals. I got a letter from a hospital that I haven't been to in probably 15 years that told me that my data was leaked. So they take this super seriously. So if you're like, cool, I just click yes to things, click yes, I understand and agree, you're taken back to that My Groups page, and this is where all the groups that you're a part of will be listed. You'll click on your group and you'll be taken to the Ehlers Danlos Wisconsin group page. You can tell that you're on a group page because it's this beautiful blue color that's the same as the website. This is basically the home page for the Ehlers Danlos Wisconsin. You can see the contact info and the social media stuff. The cool part is this resources tab. You click there and you're gonna get a list of websites. And right now it only supports websites or text. I'm hoping in the future they'll be able to let us upload documents, articles, PowerPoints, things like that. Right now it's just websites that we as Ehlers Danlos Wisconsin have put on here saying, these are things that can help you. This is only about half of what's on there right now. If you were to scroll down, you'd see some more patient materials from the Ehlers Danlos Society, provider guide from the Royal College in England. Shelley sent me a lot of really cool stuff to put on here. And we want to keep adding to this so that as new people join, not only do they have resources from us, but they can say, hey, here's where I've gotten a lot of help. Let me share that with everybody else. So if you do have something that you would like to see listed here, send that to me, send that to Tammy, and we'll take a look at it and probably put it up there. Obviously, we don't want to get too overloaded because then people go, which one do I pick? But we do want to get some good stuff up there for people to use. So before I move on, any questions about groups? These aren't the only benefits of joining groups. There's several more that are going to come when we talk about share cards. But are there any questions about groups?
I fixed the typo.
Hey, thanks. Was it the HSD one?
Yep.
Thank you. I had that written down to fix it, and then I never did. All right, so we're going to talk about those share cards, you guys. You've been hearing about them, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you're all like, what's a share card? This is a share card. You click your share card button on the side of your backpack menu, and you're taken to your share card screen. And for signing up with Backpack and joining a group, you get 3 share cards already, and you haven't even been to the menu. Everybody starts with an emergency and a health history share card, and every group you have will have a share card. We're going to talk about the emergency share card first, because I feel like that's one of the reasons that Backpack exists in the first place. We have all of this health information. How do we get it to the people who need to see it? How do we get it to the emergency responders? How do we get it to the people in the emergency room? How do we get it to new doctors? How do we get it to, the surgeon that's doing emergency surgery on us? So you would just come here and, like anything else, click on it, and it's going to open it in this tiny little phone-sized window, which is a little bit annoying if you're on your computer, but it's workable. And you can see it doesn't really have a lot on it right now. We've got something about a website and medical IDs. We've got name, date of birth, gender, blood type. And I'll tell you, whoops, went the wrong way. If you scroll down, there's not that much in it either. So we're going to click this edit button, and this will allow us to edit the information that's on the share card. It brings us up to an edit screen that looks very similar to the not edit screen. The way you can tell that you're on the edit screen is that we have these little radio buttons here. So each of these sections is going to look like one of the sections that you filled out information in. And to open the section, you just click on the section. You don't click here, that does something else. Click anywhere here, and it will open, and it'll expand that section. So we're gonna click on profile information. And this is a dual screenshot. This is just, I scrolled down and took this screenshot. You'll see Wisconsin, USA duplicated. I just wanted you to know that this is the same screen. So you come in here and you'll see that some of these things have red check marks by them. Some of them have blank check marks, and we've got one with a gray check mark. This is where the magic happens, folks. This is where you decide, on my emergency share card, I want people to know this information. I want them to know my name, my date of birth, my gender. These things don't matter to me, and I want them to be able to see my photo. Maybe you don't want them to see your photo, so you click here, and your photo will not show up on your share card. Maybe you don't need them to know your gender. Click here, it will not show up on your share card. This gray right here for your blood type cannot be unselected, and that is the only required thing I have ever seen in Backpack. And I think they just added it, because I think they say, well, if it's an emergency share card, if they have their blood type entered, it should be on there. So for each of these sections down here, you go through, you open it up, and it will have whatever information you have listed in there, or you've added to that section listed, and you just go through and you click and decide which pieces of information you want and which ones you don't. If you want everything in the section, you can come up here and click this. Since it has a minus sign, if I clicked this, if this was an active demo, it would remove everything, and it would say 0 out of 8, because you can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things out of 8 selected, so 5 out of 8 in this section. I'd click it, it would go to 0 out of 8, probably 1 out of 8, because the blood type would be selected. If I clicked it again, everything would get selected. So that's why I told you not to click on this when you open the profile information, because you don't even have to open the profile information. You can just click this and select everything in it. I always do that, and I'm like, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to open the section. So you can see that we have, medication allergies are automatically selected. You can go in there and say, I don't want people knowing about my medication allergies in the case of an emergency, which would be kind of a dumb thing to do, but you can do that. It's entirely up to you. You can see if we expand the medication section, my 150 capsules of ranitidine is there, and I can say, put that on there. You can see that up here, I selected my conditions and symptoms, and we go all the way down to, and this is why I showed you that files area. You can put any file you have uploaded into Backpack on your share cards. There's a little caveat about that I'll show you in a minute. Any notes you have written, you can put on here. And if that's not enough, if you still have some piece of information that isn't fitting somewhere else, this additional info place part, if you click on it, will give you a text box to add whatever information you want to add there. So that's adding your personal information. You see all these sections here, but there's one that we haven't really seen before, and it says information from my groups. Everything else you put in the system, the allergies, the medications, the conditions, the lab results. This section is a little bit different. If you expand this section, you can see that 0 out of 18 is selected. You will see group share cards. Now that's where it gets confusing because there are individual share cards, which is the emergency one that we're working on. And then there are group share cards, which are created by the groups that you are part of. So if you were part of another group, you might see 0 out of 25, or if you were part of a lot of groups, you might see 0 out of 56. These are cards, and I use the word card loosely. It's a piece of text that we've put together as Ehlers Danlos Wisconsin that we think is important information that patients with Ehlers Danlos or hypermobility spectrum disorder might want to share with somebody, an emergency provider, a doctor, a specialist, a school, somebody. So if you click one of these, that information will then be added to your share card. So a lot of us want to just share some general information about Ehlers Danlos with a new doctor. Instead of all 1,000 of us typing that information out or having to say it a million times, we've put it into a share card. You click the radio button and it shows up on your share card. And I'll show you what that looks like. Can you guys still hear me? Okay.
I lost internet for a second, so I don't know if that messed everything up.
Can everybody still see the PowerPoint? No.
I cannot. I can see your card, that's it.
You might have to click on share again.
Okay. I can do that. You good now?
Yep.
Okay. Play from current slide. So EDS Wisconsin has created these 18 share cards. These 5, and again, this is the card that Dr. Bluestein made, typed exactly the way it is into Backpack Health. And then we have a card for each of the subtypes that you can add. And then to add those, you just click the little button. It'll turn into a check mark. You can add as many or as few as you want. For this demo, I added the EDS general info, the anesthesia surgery alerts, and then the hypermobility Ehlers Danlos share card. So once you do that and you've added all of your medications and your lab results and your conditions, you've chosen your share cards. And again, share cards aren't required. They're just another option, another benefit you get from joining groups. You click done and you're taken back to kind of that preview page where we first saw the share card. Because remember, it had this edit link down here. And now you can see we have the title of one of our share cards here. Each EDS Wisconsin share card will start with a disclaimer that says, this is information, it's not intended to diagnose, talk to your doctor. I took some screenshots of scrolling through this share card. It's not every screenshot because there's a lot of text in these share cards and you didn't need to see the text. You can go in and look at it yourself. But as you can scroll down, you can see that each of our share cards will end with information provided by EDS Wisconsin. So when you show it to your doctor, they're not going to be like, oh, cool, did you print this off the internet? You'll be like, no, I got it from a group that knows Ehlers Danlos, dude, and now I'm leaving because you're being rude. We have, again, here's the start of the next share card and the information that Dr. Bluestein put together. Once all of our share cards also have a citation at the end of them to show where we got the information from and when we got the information. So we want you to know where you can go to get more information and how current the information is. And then it goes into all of the things that you wanted to add there. You have your allergies. I've specified that this patient has no known drug allergies. Here are the conditions and symptoms we added. Our 150 capsules of ranitidine, an MRI, all the way down to our Baton, Brighton, weight. And then you can see I also put one of my files on there. So now that you have information on your share card, you're thinking like, well, I don't know what to do with this because I don't know what I'm going to do with this share card. How do I know what information to put on it? Because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it. So let's talk about sharing these share cards. You may have noticed this share PDF link down here. That is one way to share your share cards. You click that link or click that button or text or whatever you want to call it, and Backpack immediately makes a PDF of all of the information that you have selected to go on your emergency card. You can see they format it super nicely. You can see the text of the share card starting here. Again, I didn't take a screenshot of every part of the PDF because again, a lot of it is text for the share cards. But you can see we scroll down, we start the next share card. Unfortunately, we don't get to tell them where the page breaks go, so it might break in an unfortunate place as it kind of did here. But you do see when this was printed, how many pages it is, where you are. You keep scrolling down, we're now on page 4 of 5. You see all of these things that you selected listed in this PDF. You can download it, save it, print it, email it, whatever you want to do. It's just like any other PDF. Now you notice that my knee brace photo, it didn't show the actual photo. And Tammy was mentioning this a little bit earlier, is that they're going to have to click a link and put in an access code if they want to see this. And if you've printed it off, this part isn't really important because they can't click on this from a piece of paper PDF. So while the PDF is awesome, like Tammy said, she just printed hers off and took it to the emergency room with her, there are some things that you won't be able to do, like see files. You can see notes because, again, those are text. What questions do you have about adding information to share cards and sharing via PDF? There are 2 other ways to share, but I wanted to pause real quick in case anybody had a burning question. All right, I'm gonna keep going because I've already kept you guys here for a while and we're near the finish line, I promise. Next way to share your share cards is via your URL and access code. And this is the cool part. This is the part that made me go, I want one of these. So you'll notice here we have a currently disabled URL. You just click that enabled and you get a tiny little URL and an access code. You can give this URL and this access code to anybody who you want to see the information that is on this share card. Only this share card, not your whole Backpack account, but whatever you have chosen to share this, you give them the link, you give them the access code, and I'll show you what they see. This copy button over here is just an easy way to copy the URL and the access code and paste it into something else so you don't have to retype it or try and copy and paste it yourself. So you give this URL to someone, a new doctor, the nurse in the emergency room, and they don't need to have a Backpack account. They simply put it into their web browser and they come to this, what looks like the red screen of death. I really wish it was a different color. They enter their access code and they see that information that you chose to display on your emergency share card. Now they can download a PDF of it. So this isn't necessarily they see it once and then they can never see it again. They can download it, which I kind of wish wasn't an option, but it is an option. So if you do want a provider to save it, they can do that. You can see that because we're accessing this through a website, we have links that are active. So, So if you have a link, like say at the end of a share card where it says we got this information from the Ehlers Danlos Society, whoever's looking at that can click that link and it's active. Same thing with the photos. You saw that before and it said, click here, you may need to use access code 1635. This is what will happen if someone has that PDF on their computer and they click that link. They'll come to this access screen and they'll be able to see just that photo. But when you give them the website and the access code, they can see everything right away. The other cool thing about this is that it's dynamic. So if you give your doctor your access code and URL tomorrow, and then at the end of the week, you add some things and your doctor doesn't access it till next week, all of that stuff will update. And then when they access it again in 3 months, they'll see any updates you have made in those 3 months. So the information is added to. If you take away a share card, if you add a new diagnosis, whenever they log in, they will see those updates. Now, I know some of you are thinking, like, that's great, but I have some doctors that I might have given this to at one point that I don't want to see it ever again. There are 2 ways you can do that. Number one, you can change your access code. You can change it to take away access from someone. So say you gave this out to everybody and now there are 3 doctors you don't want to have it. You change the access code, you give the new access code to the people that you do want. Because this URL will always be the same for this share card. So you can change it, and you can change it for whatever reason you want. You want to make it a number that's easier for you to remember. That's fine. You can also turn the URL off completely by clicking this little check mark. That'll just turn it off. No one will have access to it no matter what website or access code they have. What questions do you have about the URL sharing? I don't know if people aren't asking questions because they're like, come on, let's finish this, or like, I'm just really doing a good job. Again, this is one of the coolest things. And another thing that, Backpack Health did is that you saw this register or buy medical ID. They partnered with Sticky J Medical, which is an interesting name for a medical ID jewelry company. And you can go directly to their page, pick out a piece of medical jewelry, and they will put your URL on your bracelet. Or your necklace or whatever you choose. I haven't done this. Tammy did it. I think you said you did it for your son. Did you go through Sticky J Medical?
No, I just went through Amazon. It was like $12. Yeah. And I put on there whatever you want to. So
right. So you can go through this, the Sticky J, or like Tammy said, you can just take that URL, and if you want to, the access code, or you might keep the access code somewhere else, or just keep it in your brain. You don't have to go through this particular vendor. But it's an easy way to use that tiny, tiny space on a medical ID piece of jewelry, is to put that tiny little URL on there. Most paramedics and ambulances are going to have a computer, and if not, the paramedic is going to have a cell phone on them. They can put that URL in. You can give them the access code. You can say, look in my wallet for the access code, and boom, they have more information than you could fit on that little tiny bracelet. I know a lot of other sites, some medical ID sites have websites like this where they'll allow you to put in information. Backpack Health is first a patient information site, not a medical jewelry site. So you can trust that your information is safe and they're not going to sell it, they're not going to misuse it, and that kind of stuff. So another great way to share your medical information. I want to talk about the group share cards really quick. Now, I know I've used group share card for the information that you can use from groups to go on your share cards, but I want to talk about this guy down here. So you can see it's called group share card. Everybody who joins EDS Wisconsin on Backpack gets this share card. And if you click it, you'll notice that it looks a little bit different than the emergency share card. I'm in the edit mode, and you'll notice that I cannot have a URL for it. I cannot share this via a website. I can download a PDF of it, and I cannot include my name. And I also can't include my photo. You can't see that on the screenshot, but they will not let you include those things because they want to make extra sure that you know that your data is not connected to your name if you choose to share it with your group. So just like the emergency share card, you would scroll down here, you'd have these different sections, and you'd click your little check mark boxes here and say, yep, share this diagnosis, share these lab results, don't share that lab result, share this genetic result, and it goes into some big database somewhere in the cloud, I'm sure. And again, the administrators can only see it in that aggregate sense. You can come to this card and turn everything off and say, I like you guys, you're all great, I trust you, but I don't want to share my medical information. That's totally fine. You can come in here and say, please take all of my information. That is also great. It is entirely up to you what you choose to do with that. And again, it is with only the group's administrators. I'm not an administrator. I can go in and create share cards and update other information. I cannot see the data. So you see you have a health history card here. Works exactly the same way as the emergency card, except it doesn't have the link to the emergency jewelry place. That's the only difference. Otherwise, it's going to look exactly the same, except it's going to be in this lovely teal color. You may have noticed our friend, the plus sign down here. You can make your own share cards. Maybe you want to make one for a child to take to school. You want to print off a PDF to give to the school nurse. You want to make one for yourself to give to someone who you work with that you trust in case you have a medical incident. Maybe you want to make a travel one so that while you're traveling, you have the information that you need. It's really simple to make your own share card. You click the plus button, you get this little sub menu. The food allergy share card, I haven't used it, but it's set up so that it has your food allergies on it and you can give to people who you're eating with, or you can put it in a different language so that when you go to another country, you have your food allergies in Spanish or Portuguese or Italian. What else? They have French, a couple other languages. But you can create a custom card to look however you want. You get this screen, you click on Untitled, call it whatever you want, go down through your groups, or your different pieces of information, add what you want, choose one of 5 colors, click Done, don't click Trash Can deletes it, click Done, and there's your new share card. Since I did talk about language, I want to make a comment real quick. Backpack is available in a number of different languages: Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, and like 2 or 3 other ones. All of the information that is provided by Backpack, the conditions, the lab results, the labels, all of that stuff is translated into all those different languages. So if you travel, you can change the language of your backpack and just show your share cards to medical providers if something happens. The only caveat is that any information that your group provides, so the group share cards, the group description, the criteria, that kind of stuff, we need to have that translated. And Tammy and I don't speak enough of another language to translate medical information into Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, whatever you want to translate it into. So
we do have somebody who can translate.
You have found somebody, okay, because I was going to put out a call right now to say like, hey, if anybody knows how to do this, that'd be great. But if we have somebody, awesome. So once those get translated, we will add them so you can have all of your information with you when you go to a different country, and have it in the language of hopefully something similar to that country. Let's see. What questions you have about either sharing share cards or creating custom share cards? Promise we're real close to the end.
How did you name that travel health info?
When I clicked custom card, where it says Untitled right here,
Yep.
I clicked that, which in PowerPoint will not let you rename it, but it'll give you a text field and you can call it whatever you want. You could call it Jill's allergy card. All right. Moving on, I want to show you another benefit that you get from joining groups and another way you can add information to share cards. So let's say I want to add another condition, and I go to the condition symptoms and I get to the search screen. And you might notice that this screen looks a little bit different than it did when we first saw it. Because again, remember I made that really lame joke about acute appendicitis? We don't have those options anymore. We have arthritis, chronic pain, dysautonomia, fatigue. That is because each group tells Backpack, you know what, people with Ehlers Danlos often have these particular things wrong with them. Put those in a list so they can just click on them rather than having to search for them. So you can see the first one was called examples. This one is called group suggestions. We also gave them a bunch of conditions that should show up first in your search results, as opposed to all that junk you saw when I typed in HEDS. This is true for medications. I think we did it for therapies, procedures. We added the Baton and Brighton scores under measurements. They didn't have those at all, but they are there for you to select. So when you join the group, your experience gets tailored a little bit to whatever condition your group represents. So we're going to add dysautonomia, and you can see that this is the conditions screen where I added, you know, when it started, that it's confirmed. I didn't add a specific body part, but you can see all of my share cards listed down here. So when you add a piece of information, condition, medication, therapy, genetic result, you can immediately add it to one of your share cards instead of adding it, then going to your share cards, scrolling, finding it, clicking it, accidentally unclicking everything, clicking everything back on. The group share cards and the health history will be selected automatically, but you can select all of them, you can select none of them, you can select one, but it's an easy way to say, update my share cards with this information without having to go through each of your share cards to do it. So, share cards, I feel, and groups are what really make Backpack Health different in that you get the support of a group that has a lot of information that they want to get out to their users, and you can help groups do research, and then you can share your information in a variety of ways. I'm going to talk about proxy access real quick because I know some of you out there have kids that you want to create a backpack for, or maybe you're taking care of a family member and you want to have access to their information. There's two ways you can do this. The first one is this add another person button. This is when you want to add an account for someone who will not be accessing it themselves. So this is for a very young child, perhaps an adult with dementia who shouldn't be messing with their information. This is for someone who will not be going into their own medical information. It's medical information you manage for them. So our test patient here, James, has a daughter who's 10 years old. So he wants to have a separate backpack for her, but he wants to have access to it because he's the one that's going to put all the information in there for her. So he clicks add another person, and he gets something that looks real similar to the sign up screens that you'll get as you go through and set up your own profile. And it's exactly the same thing. You put in the information, you say yes to the privacy information, but they do give you this little warning, like, can they do this themselves? So maybe you have a 15-year-old and you're like, well, you know, I want my 15-year-old to have access to this so they can add things and print out stuff or share it with their doctors. Then you're going to want to do a completely separate account. You're going to want to go through the sign-up process like you did for yourself. This is more for, you know, for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be in charge of this person's health information. As far as I know, there is no way to transfer what we're about to set up to the person when they become of age. So once I go through all of this, the account setup information or profile setup information, you'll see that I am now in April's backpack. I'm no longer in my backpack. I'm in April's backpack. And here's her information. We can skip to the themes, privacy. She has all of the same information that, you know, we can add to our own backpack. But I'm not April. I'm April's dad in here doing this for her. I can show it to her, but there is no way that April, unless I give her my login, can log into this herself. And there's no way that, when April turns 18, at least as of yet, maybe Backpack will add this, that I can transfer ownership to her. You'll notice we have a switch to button now. And if I click anywhere on this button, including this plus sign, but not the photo, anywhere but the photo, I can add another account. So if I had another child, or April had a twin brother, I could have a number of accounts here that I manage as a parent, as, whatever role you have as a caretaker. If I click on the photo, I will be taken back to that person's backpack. So if I clicked on this photo, I'd go back to my backpack. I'd still see the switch to button here, but it would have this, the AS, because she doesn't have a picture. So this is if you need to take care of someone else's information. Now, the way I set this up is a little bit confusing, so I just want to talk through the other way you can do this. The other way you can give someone access to your backpack is if you want someone else to see your stuff. So let's say you want your spouse to be able to come into your backpack account, change your health information, update your profile, print your share cards, get your URLs, do everything that you can do in your backpack account. If you just want them to see information, give them a share card. But if you want them to be able to actually come into your backpack account and change, update, add information, you click the access button. It's this one right here. Now, it's a little confusing how I did this on here, so I'm not going to talk through the actual screenshots, but what you do, it's very simple. You click access, and it says, who has access to this person's backpack? And if you're in your own backpack, it should be you. If it's somebody else, there's a concern that you should probably talk to them about. And it says that they have full access. If you want another person to have full access, and as far as I know, there's no level of access, although since they are calling this full access, I'm guessing there might be in the future. You click invite someone to share access. You get a place to put their email. They will get an email. They will have to set up a backpack account themselves, and then they can have access to your backpack as well. And again, what I did here is I had April's dad invite April's mom to have access to her backpack. But again, you can do this for your own backpack as well. So again, once they accept your invitation, you won't be able to remove their access. So you do want to make sure that you want them to have full access to everything. If you just want them to give them partial information or temporary access, give them a share card through a URL, print them a PDF, don't give them full access. But for those of you who take care of other people or have someone who is a caretaker for you, proxy access either through add an account or access might be something that will work really well for you. So thank you for staying with me for so long. When I practiced this, it was 45 minutes long, I promise. But you guys have asked some really good questions, some good scenarios have come up, and I really appreciate you sticking around this whole time. When Tammy showed me Backpack and I got the demo, I was super excited about how in control I got to be of my health information and how I got to be in control of who saw it. Because as you know, our medical records, even though we create them, are kind of hidden behind this wall of secrecy, and we have to pay for them. We have to log into a portal that wasn't made for us. This puts it back in our hands. If you have any questions or feedback, or want to talk to Backpack about something, you have questions about setting up your own account, you have resources or share card content, anything having to do with Backpack Health, you are more than welcome to email me. Of course, you can always email Tammy as well. We're kind of the people who are getting this going now. If you're interested in being part of the team who puts together the share card content and resources, I've been working a little bit with Shelly on that, but of course, if there's anybody else who's interested in doing this, we would love to have you. So again, thank you. And if you have any last questions, I would be happy to take them now.
Thank you, Kate, for doing this. It was great. Great information, for real. Very thorough and very helpful.
Thank you.